Today we're solving equations that have some unusual solutions. Just a reminder of our steps for solving equations. If there are parentheses, be sure to distribute first, and then we combine like terms. So remember, to be like terms, they have to have the exact same variable with the same exponent and be on the same side of the equal sign. Then if we have a variable on both sides, we want to get the variable to one side. A lot of students will sometimes skip this step, and it's really important that you don't skip this step because then you'll have trouble identifying unusual solutions. So it's when we're trying to get rid of the variable from one side, if there's an unusual solution, this is where we'll notice it. Then lastly, add or subtract, then multiply or divide, and then verify your solution. Does it satisfy the equation? If you plug it back in, do you get a true statement? So if I look at example 1, first thing we want to do is combine like terms. We've got 9 plus 2 minus 6 on the left-hand side. We would combine 9 plus 2 is 11, subtract 6 gives us 5. And then on the right-hand side, we're also going to combine like terms. 7n minus 6n combined to give us 1n. Now I have a variable on both sides, so I want to get rid of one of them. So I would subtract n from both sides, and that leaves us with 5 equals 5, which is a true statement, but we don't have a variable anymore. So when there's no variable, but you're left with a true statement, obviously 5 equals 5, then the answer is all real numbers. In number 2, we have 6a. We've got a variable on both sides, so I would subtract 6a from both sides. So that leaves us with -7 equals -5. So when the variable cancels out on both sides, but you're left with a false statement, -7 does not equal -5, that's when there is no solution. In number 3, the first thing we want to do is distribute the -6 that's in front of the parentheses here. So distributing that, we would have on the right-hand side -4 and then minus 6x minus 12. So got to make sure you distribute that negative along with it when you're distributing. Next, we would combine like terms. So we have -4 and -12 on the same side. So we would combine them to get -16. And then we do have a variable on both sides, so we would add 6x to both sides. And then again, the variable cancels out on both sides. We're left with -16 equals -16, which is a true statement. So the answer is all real numbers. For number 4, we're going to distribute the 4. So 4 times 1 gives us 4. 4 times -7x gives us -28x. Next, we have a variable on both sides. So I would add 28x to both sides. So that would get rid of it here on the left. And then we have 26x plus 4 equals 4. So to get x alone, I would subtract 4 from both sides. And 4 minus 4 on the left gives us 0. 0 equals 26x. X is being multiplied by 26. The inverse operation of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 26. 0 divided by 26 equals 0. All right, so a lot of students, sometimes when they subtract 4 from both sides and they're getting 0 over here, they confuse that with having no solution, but it's not the same. We still have a variable in our equation. We have 26x, and 0 is a number. So a solution of 0 is not the same thing as no solution. Okay, and number 5, we need to distribute the -5 here to the 1 and the 4x. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to be distributing -9 to the x plus 2. So after distributing, we've got -7x minus 5 minus 20x equals 1 minus 9x minus 18. Next, we would combine like terms. So on the left-hand side, we got -7x minus 20x. Those would combine to be -27x. On the right-hand side, 1 minus 18. We combine those to get -17. Next, we want to get rid of the variable from one side. And I always choose whichever one's smaller. So negative 27x is smaller than negative 9x. So I'm going to add 27x to both sides. That gets rid of the variable on the left. So that leaves us with negative 5 equals negative 17 plus 18x. Next, I would add 17 to both sides. So I'm getting 12 equals 18x, and then divide both sides by 18. 12 over 18, both 12 and 18 are divisible by 6. So we could reduce that to 2/3. So just keep in mind, you won't always get an integer answer. It's okay to get an answer that is a fraction. Number 6, okay, we got a lot going on here. We got to distribute the -2 here, so make sure you distribute that negative along with it. -2 times -8, a negative times a negative is positive, so that gives us positive 16, and then -2 times 3x gives us the negative 6x. On this side, we're distributing -8, so -8 times x gives us the negative 8x, and then -8 times -4 gives us positive 32. Remember, a negative times a negative is positive. Next, we'll combine like terms. Negative x minus 6x combines to give us negative 7x. And then on the right-hand side, 32 minus 15 combine to give us 17. Then we have a variable on both sides. So to get rid of the variable, negative 8 is the smallest, so I would add 8x to both sides. Negative 7x plus 8x becomes 1x, and then there's no x on the right-hand side anymore. Lastly, I would subtract 16 from both sides to get x by itself, and we get x equals 1. So in conclusion, when we get those weird solutions where it's all real numbers or no solution, both of those result in having no variable. In that third step, when we try to get the variable to one side, it'll be gone from both sides. But sometimes the variable's gone, you're left with a true statement. When there's no variable, but you have a true statement, then the answer is all real numbers. But if you have no variable, but a false statement, then the answer is no solution.